So I went to Dollar Tree and guess what I bought? Of course, I bought books. So stay tuned to see what books I found at Dollar Tree for the low, low price of $1.25. If you are not shopping at Dollar Tree for books, you need to start, okay? Dollar Tree has a great selection of books, and I know that sometimes it may be hard to find things at Dollar Tree in the book section because some Dollar Trees they have their books organized and on the shelf really nice, and then some they just have them all over the place and you can't find anything. You have to rearrange the shelf just to find any books. And they tend to have like the same books, I guess, because nobody's buying them, but sometimes you do catch some gems. So I'm gonna go over some books that I have found at Dollar Tree for $1.25 over the last couple months. Okay. All right. So I've done a Goodwill haul, Barnes and Noble mini haul because it's Barnes and Noble. And so now I am going to get into Dollar Tree because I mean you can't beat a book for $1.25. Okay, that's almost as good as that's actually cheaper than Goodwill because a hardcover book at Goodwill is $2, and a hardcover book like this one is $1.25 at Dollar Tree. So that's amazing. That's a great price. Okay, so let's get into some books that I got at Dollar Tree and I've already read them. Okay, the first one is I Have No Secrets. And this was a really good book. It's by Penny Jolson, and it features a main character who has a disability. So, and it's told from her point of view. So it's really good, and it's kind of like a thriller. It is a young adult novel, but it was a quick and easy read, and it was pretty good for $1.25. The next book was actually on my TBR, and I saw in an online, you can see it there, in an online book club that this book was uh, circulating at Dollar Tree. People had been seeing it at Dollar Trees. So I went and I looked for it and I found it. The Most Beautiful, My Life with Prince by Mayte Garcia. And this was a really good book. I really liked it. I'm not a huge Prince fan and I haven't followed his life as much as I've like followed Michael Jackson. There's like at least 3 Michael Jackson books on this shelf and even more Michael Jackson books in a cabinet that I keep all the rest of my books in. So this was my introduction to any Prince biography, and it was pretty good. And my heart really went out to her because I think even right now she still loves him, and he met her when she was like 16. So, and he was, I think, in his 30s or so. Um, that was her first love and probably like her only love. So this was a really good book, and I actually wrote all in this book, and so I guess I could give it away to someone since I've read it if they don't mind reading my annotations. Okay. All right. So those are 2 books that I've read, and there's a lot of books that I've got from Dollar Tree that I haven't read. So I'm gonna go through some books that I picked up at my last trip to Dollar Tree, like the last time I went, which was last Friday. And what does that mean to you, Tree? If you should look for these books at Dollar Tree, I got these books on January 20th. Okay. So you may find these at Dollar Tree now. Okay, so the first one is Exit Strategy, and I was like getting this book, putting it back, getting it, but I decided to go with it. And this is just about crooked politicians, dictators, criminals who want to disappear. They go through this program called the Exit Strategy, where they fake their death. And then one guy decides to fake his death, and he starts to wonder if there was somebody behind whatever caused his downfall, and they wanted him to fake his death, and so he's going to actually leave the Exit Strategy, which is unheard of, because once you leave you can never go back. That's what it says here. And this is by Charlton Pettis. So I think this will be pretty good, so I want to read this one. And this one is Hannah's War. It's another one. Uh, should I take it? Should I leave it? Because I mean, DollarTree is hit and miss. Sometimes you get books that are really good, like the Mayte Garcia book, and then sometimes they're like, okay, I could have. I'm glad I only spent $1.25 on this book. Okay, so this one is Hannah's War, and this is a cat and mouse tale of a love, war, and deception and espionage that you won't be able to put down. So this seems pretty good. Love, war, espionage. So this is not like at the top of my TBR, but I am going to give this a try and look. This book was going for $12.99 and I got it for $1.25, so that's pretty good. And this is the last book I got last Friday, called The Warlow Experiment. And this is about I think a rich guy who wants to be taken seriously in medicine, and so he wants to do this. He wants to do this radical experiment in isolation. So he wants a guy to live in isolation for 7 years, and only one guy is desperate enough to apply, and we're gonna, I guess, follow his journey. So I'm gonna give this one a try. I thought that was pretty interesting. So the Warlow Experiment. All right. So these are books that I got probably. I think I got this one, Every Bone a Prayer, maybe in December. So this is about a little girl, Misty, who lives in a trailer, and it seems like some weird things are happening to her. I mean, it seems like a thriller. Um, Misty's holler looks like any other of 1,000 hollers that fork through the mountains, but Misty knows her home is different. She may be only 10, but she hears things. And all she wants to talk about are the strange objects that appear outside her trailer. The grown ups mutter about sins and punishment, but that doesn't scare Misty. Not like the harmful thing that's been happening to her, the hurtful thing that is becoming part of her. Ever since her neighbor William cornered her in the barn, she must figure out how to get back to the Misty she was before, the Misty who wasn't afraid to listen. It might be a little sad, but I still want to read it. The Other Miss Miller. Um, Keep your friends close and your neighbors closer. Phoebe Miller isn't sure when the rusty car started showing up in the cul-de-sac she calls home, or why a driver would be spying on her. What could be interesting about an unhappy housewife who drowns her sorrows in ice cream and wine and barely leaves her home? So I think, when a new family moves in across the street, but with her head turned, she's no longer focused on the woman in the car, and okay. So, okay, you see there's like a little twist. So that's why I picked this book up. When a new family moves in across the street, exuberant Vicky, who just might become the gossipy best friend Phoebe's always wanted, and her handsome college-bound son, Jake, who offers companionship of a different variety. Slow down, Phoebe. Phoebe finds her dull routine infused with the excitement she's been missing, but with her head turned, she's no longer focused on the woman in the car, and she really should be. So this is definitely one I want to read. And this is also a book I got around December. All these books I got, you know, pretty recently, probably the end of December or the beginning of January. But no, so these has to be in December because I made a vow not to buy any books in January, but I broke it on Friday. I bought books at Goodwill and at Dollar Tree. So these have to be from December. The Shout in the Ruins. Okay, A Shout in the Ruins is about the antebellum South and Confederate veterans and enslaved people. And that seems pretty interesting. I want to see how this turns out. Uh, Hopefully, it's not like very traumatic because I don't like to read books with trauma, and especially like trauma based on something that really happened, like slavery. If it's like an alien warfare or something like that, it won't bother me. But real trauma that happened, I can't do it. All right, so let me see if there's any more recent books here. Okay, okay, all right. So these books I bought. Okay, so these two books I know I bought like a while ago at Dollar Tree, so I'm not sure if they're still there. The Things She's Seen. Okay, and this is a ghost story as well as a psychological thriller, so that's right up my alley. And I just like the cover and the font that's on the front. And this was being sold for $17.99. Okay, so there's that. And this is also a book I bought a while ago, Crown of Thunder. And I did want to read this. It's a compelling Nigerian influenced fantasy, which I mean, when I saw that, I wanted to read it because I had read Skin of the Sea, and that's kind of based on the same thing, African based fantasy. So, but this is a sequel to another book. It's a sequel to Beasts Made of Night. So I want to read that book first and then read this book. This is a book I did want to read, Brave by Rose McGowan, because she is charmed, and I am a huge, huge Charmed fan. I've seen the complete series. I at least, I mean, watched it from the first episode to the last episode at least one, two, three, four, like 5 times. Okay, and I'm so sad that they took it off Netflix. I mean, I actually have the DVDs. Okay, that the complete seasons DVDs, and I collected the whole series. So I'm excited to read this one. Um, I don't really know much about her other than her life as a charmed one. So as Paige, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Okay, let's keep it moving. The Risk of Us. So this is about a woman in her 40s who wants to become a mom, and so they're going to adopt a little girl, but something happens that's going to crack open the marriage of the woman and her husband. So this seems pretty interesting. It's not very high on my TBR, but I do want to read it. Okay. Hopefully my plan is to get through all of these books that I've bought. Well, that was my plan. That was my plan. And I'm hoping that I can stick with it to read most of the books that I have, all the ones that I really intend to read before I start buying more books. And I already started buying more books, but before I buy even more. Okay, so this book is a book that is right now in my Amazon cart for like $8 or $9. Bam, Rebecca, and it's a Netflix film, and I believe this is a pretty old book because there's a movie made about it, and it's an old movie. It was copyrighted in 1938, so it's a pretty old book. And I think it's $8 or $9 in my Amazon cart. And I watched the movie, and I was like, oh, that would be and I found out it was based on a book, and I'm like, oh, that would be really good to read. So can't wait to read this one. Okay, this is one I'm definitely gonna read. The Gilded Cage. I think I bought this book in October because I bought a lot of books that kind of had this look to it. So, but we're still books that I would want to read. And in October, my reading slowed down tremendously due to a family emergency. So I think it was September on, like all the books that I had lined up to read in October, I don't even think I got through one book, and that's pretty sad. But it's life, and you know. So this is about a girl who grew up on a farm in Virginia, and she moves to England in the 1820s. And she's expected to observe some mourning customs, but she can't accept that her brother's death was an accident. And then a bitter preacher, oh, I'm sorry, a poacher prowls the estate, and strange visitors threaten the occupants of the house. There's even a rumor that a wild animal stalks the woods. Okay, so can she find out the truth, or will her brother's killer claim her life first? And I just love that cover. And look at the back. This is by Lucinda Gray. So I am hoping to get to this book because that was one of the books I wanted to read in October. Here's another book I wanted to read in October: Love and Other Cures. Author of Suicide Notes. So this is about it seems about a teenager who lives with his grandmother, his great grandmother, and great great grandmother, and they all know something about magic. And then there's a curse, um, and he has to make it to his 17th birthday without falling in love. So I think this would be a cute book to read. It could have been a cute book to read in October, but maybe I'll try to read it in February. It's like a romance because I'm assuming he's trying not to fall in love with someone because he is falling in love with someone. So that's all the romance that I need. The next book is this one: Remembering Whitney, My Story of Love, Loss, and the Night the Music Stopped by Cissy Houston, about her daughter Whitney Houston. And I've read one other Whitney Houston book called A Song for You by Robin Crawford, and that book was really good. So I am looking forward to getting into this book. Um, it's her mom, and yeah, and as a mom, like my heart goes out to her, and despite the way she comes off, I still want to hear her story, and I love Whitney, and so I'm gonna give this one a shot. There's another book I read in October when I bought all these October theme books, October ish books. It was called The Cure for Daydreaming. And that was, no, it was called The Cure for Dreaming. And that book was really good. I think it was by Kat Winters. It was so cute. It was about a girl it was like during the suffrage movement. Her dad wanted her to stop having all these ideas of voting and women's rights. So he gets um, a hypnotist to hypnotize her to like take those thoughts out of her head. But he ends up hypnotizing her to see things as they really are, like see people as like vampires and stuff. But it was cute. It was good. I liked it. So the next book I'm going to get to is a book that I read years ago in a college course that I took, and it is Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. 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 And this book was I really liked it. It was about um it was like these short stories about I don't want I mean, I don't know if that's like a spoiler. I read it so long ago, you don't know if something that you just remember about the book is actually a spoiler. But it's short stories. Let me give you see like this is like part two, The Archaeologist. Part one, Midsummer Sun. And this is from June 2073. So, and this one's from July 2011, part two. So it's like through time, okay? It tells a story about two people. Well, the first story is about um, people on this island or and where no one ages and no children are born and a visitor arrives. So it's really good. I mean, if you haven't read this book and you like young adult fiction, I would highly recommend this book, The Smoke Thieves. This seems like a pretty big book, so I'm not really sure why I would even pick up a book this big. Let's see how many pages. 431. You're losing me. You're losing me. Okay, whatever. This is a shrewd princess whose father is plotting against her. An idealistic soldier turned traitor, a radicalized servant in a quest to avenge his family, a streetwise demon hunter in need of money. Sold. So that's why I got that book. And then Blood Sisters. They had a bond that should never have been broken. Three little girls set off to school one Sunday morning. Within an hour, one of them is dead. Then 15 years later, Kitty can't speak and has no memory of the accident that's to blame. She lives in an institution unlikely ever to leave. But that doesn't keep her from being frightened when she encounters an eerily familiar face. So that seems this was on sale, it looks like for $15.36. And this is also, I guess, by the author who wrote My Husband's Wife, which is a book I haven't read. So I'll read this one and see if My Husband's Wife is something I like to read. When I went to Dollar Tree on January 20th, I found this and I thought it was so cute. And this is actually, it was being sold someplace else for $8. And it's 22 coupons for the best mom ever. I think it will be cute for a kid to give it to their mom, so maybe I can give it to my daughter so she can give it to me. Um, but I'm not going to give it to my mom because she lives in Georgia and I live in Florida. So, like it says, it's like a shopping date, and I can't take her on a shopping date. Homemade dinner for you. So, I thought that was cute, and I got it out of the book section. And that's it. And that's those are all the books that I have gotten from Dollar Tree that I haven't read and given away yet. There are some great books and great finds at Dollar Tree. You may just have to dig and hunt, but I do recommend you going to Dollar Tree to look for books because, as you can see, they do have a good selection of books. And if you have found any good books at Dollar Tree, leave a comment below and let me know which books you found at Dollar Tree and if they were good or not so good. And thanks for watching this video, and let's have a word from my sponsor.
Like and subscribe to Cassie and Flower channel and Casey because you're not here. And remember that I have earrings and I'm going to take them off at school. And make sure to be happy to our channel.
Thanks, guys.